Fantastic to be with you on MoneyLife, proudly brought to you by Botswana Life, because your future deserves more than just small talk. A very good morning to you and welcome to this week's episode of Money Life with Botswana Life. Just last week, we were talking about the importance of a will and how it can help secure your family's future. And we spoke a little bit last week as well about estate planning. And from the response, that to bring back this conversation and delve a little bit deeper into what exactly estate planning is, how it can help secure your family's future, and of course, why it's so important. And to help us with this discussion, we have back in studio Fiduciary Specialist, Refilwe Mogwe. Refilwe, a very good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Petula. Thank you for having me.
I knew we'd be back here having this conversation because there was so much interest last week. So for those that maybe don't understand, when we're talking about estate planning, what exactly is it and why is it so important?
So estate planning is just a broad concept of how you put everything together in your estate. And however estate, we are really talking about what makes Petula, right? Petula is a mother, Petula has assets, Petula is married, she's married in a certain regime, Petula has bank accounts, Petula has policies with us, hopefully. And all of that, what happens in the event that Petula gets disabled, God forbid, or Petula unfortunately passes on, which is something that we all have to contemplate. So it's not just about having a will. A will is a part of estate planning, right? So estate planning is really, really, really broad. And all of us plan our estates in one way or the other. I'll give you an example. When you take, say, a funeral product, right, or a funeral policy, which we have many of them here, right? So that you are planning your estate. You're saying, if I pass on, there needs to be some provision, financial provision for my estate, so that I can be buried. I've got to get Casey, got to get sure, all of that is you planning, and you get that product. You are helping yourself plan your estate, but how you bring it all together, knowing that, okay, fine, I've got a funeral product or two with Botswana Life. I've got a life cover. I've got an investment product. I have a bank account, with whichever bank. I've got an asset in Kahine, or a home or house or whatever. Is now how you bring it all together through the will. Yeah. So the will is a tool that we use for estate planning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, you've already touched on it a little bit, but maybe we can why is it so important to have an estate plan for our families?
Yeah. It's very important because then it helps you, prevent a lot of unnecessary stress. Right? Most people, death in itself is painful, and the aftermath of death is also quite, painful. So you're dealing with trying to bury your loved one. Now you have to deal with their affairs, their personal affairs. You have to go to the bank, close their bank accounts. You have to ensure that the properties that was in their names, be it fixed properties, then transferred to you, or the loved ones, or whoever they would have nominated. It's a whole entire process. So imagine where now there's nothing in place to give direction as to what should happen. So it helps us by ensuring that our loved ones are guided enough, and therefore we're avoiding unnecessary disputes. Because these disputes, or this, sometimes not even a dispute, is that there's a lack of certainty, right? That all that delay can create unnecessary costs to the estate. Because the longer you spend trying to figure out what to do, the more costly it can become the estate.
Yeah. And I'd love for us to talk more about those costs. But before we do, I want to throw you in the deep end a little bit. Just recently, there was a legendary artist, and unfortunately, those disagreements, it seems, came up.
Yeah.
Is an estate plan something seka thusa in situations like that where go tweng nya a hitliwe hale nya ha ke batla a hitliwe hale?
Yeah, and this is my personal opinion, and this is precisely what we spoke about last week. That the will is not just about you having 10, houses. It's not about that. You can literally just talk about something that is very sentimental and very personal, like where your bodily remains should be placed. So it would have helped, I believe, because all of us are guessing what he would have wanted, but if there had been a plan in place to say, look, maybe if I pass on, I feel closer to Kanye, I feel closer to Hamuron, I feel closer to Sarah or whatever. That could have just been the plan in place via a will. Yeah.
And let's get back to the costs. You did mention that there are costs involved in planning your estate.
Yeah.
Who incurs these costs? Is it the family or Kimangwe will have to look at these costs?
So obviously without a proper plan in place, it then becomes the family. Because you can't avoid the process of ensuring that your estate is well. So if you have a plan in place, you would have planned in advance to say, look, in the event I pass on, madi ako Botswana Life le ngo claima ba le duele, so that we are now able to facilitate the process of winding up your estate. And that is very important. I'll give you an example. If you say back to the 10 houses example, and now you have 10 kids and you want to give these 10 kids each one of them a house, right? Your estate is registered. The master would want to know, okay, fine, Refilwe, Deboho, whoever, how much are they inheriting from their deceased parent? You know what I mean? So then you have to engage a valuer. That is a cost. So if your kids don't have enough, maybe they are minors, right? If they don't have the money, who's going to produce it? The estate. So the estate is responsible for the costs associated to the death of the person who was alive before they became an estate, as well as the assets involved, as well as other obligations, right? We mentioned it last week that just because you've passed on doesn't mean that now kids stop going to school. Yeah, I like giving this example. They'll never say, "Oh, Petula is such a good person, and we will give her a discount the rest of the year."
Yeah,
because she passed, they'll still expect to be paid, and you need to put a plan in place. And that is why we have the solutions in place as Botswana Life. One of the most interesting ones is our anchor product as Fiduciary Services, being the estate liquidity cover. So that is meant to protect the estate. So we have this interesting product where when you pass on, there is going to be a payout into your estate to enable your executor to facilitate the winding up process. Because where there's no cash, that is where now you find that there's this misconception, particularly in the legal fraternity, where most times, I kid you not, it's because of the liquidity issue. Yeah, because I get it, like I said, life still continues. Kids still, school fees needs to be paid, but they have valuations, there might be legal expenses, there might be taxes. Even on death, the taxman will expect to be paid also. So when you have such a product like the estate liquidity cover, you know that the process of winding up your estate is then dealt with, and then whatever surplus remains or excess remains, then it will be distributed according to you.
I love that. I'm going to come and pop in your office right after this so we can start estate planning.
Yeah.
And how does life insurance actually help me with this process? I believe you've already touched on it.
Yeah.
But life insurance le Botswana Life.
Of course.
It can when I'm planning my estate.
Yeah. So life insurance in its general sense, and I'm not the expert with insurance, but when I interact with my colleagues, what I gather is that life insurance, when you're still alive, it can be an asset, right? Yeah. So you go to the bank, you say, I've got security, this thing, I can use it. On death, it provides the liquidity element. And if it's structured well, it should be able to pay into your estate such that your taxes, your expenses, maintenance expenses of the house and the kids are all well taken care of. Yeah, so life insurance is a very powerful tool. even on death. So I don't just talk about death, we also talk about life to say, well, you're still alive, life insurance is very, very important. We would encourage our clients to actually ask the necessary questions to say, what happens if I pass on? What will I get paid? What happens if I miss my premiums? Because remember, you would have gotten this product. Next thing you maybe missed a few premiums, and then you get what I mean. So it's very, very important to understand when you have life cover what the various uses that you can use it. Yeah. So another example is, like I said, it's an asset. So if you don't even have a house and you have a 2 million pula life cover, you are worth 2 million. Yeah. So I think we need to start, thinking a lot more broadly. And that's why we have even specialized products like estate liquidity cover. It is a form of a life cover. Yeah, so but we're focusing on you holistically as the individual to say, okay, fine. And as much as you may have gotten a mortgage and you took a 1 million mortgage protector or life cover and use that as security, there is also the fact that maybe you have other assets, right? And then that is how then we look at you in your entirety, your estate, to say, never neha to God forbid. Gamoso, she's got 10 properties, and what is going to be the cost or the implication of her death on her estate? Yeah.
And I'm sure for everyone that's watching right now, they're absolutely sold on this. And so how do I actually go about starting to plan my estate today? Because a lot of people have this, and I don't know if it's a misconception, that when it comes to estate planning, and you have to be extremely wealthy to start planning things like that. So how do I start today, and is it something reserved for the wealthy?
Absolutely not. This particular, point we will continuously emphasize that it's not about being wealthy. I'll just give you another example. If you have kids and all you are doing is ensuring that your kids are well taken care of, they go to good schools, and that is your focus in terms of, where you are investing your energy and money, right? It is important that you have something in place that can articulate what will happen to the kids. Where will they continue schooling? Because life does unfortunately continue even after death, and we need to try as much as possible. Daunting as it is, we need to plan for such eventuality. So the first step would be basically to contact us as Botswana Life. You can visit us at our branches. You can get in contact with your financial advisor, or directly contact us as Fiduciary Services, and we should be able to assist you with your estate planning. Remember, again, estate planning is not just about the will for us as Botswana Life. It's about your financial, outlook in terms of what it is that we can do and offer you or recommend to you to ensure that your estate is more solid. Yeah.
And in terms of your last message to Batho would love to do this and maybe don't even know how to go about it or why it's even important, how we because we're okay, we're fine, we need to leave it till later. What is your last message for them?
So parting sentiments would be that, look, estate planning is not this complex thing, right? It's not that complex. All of us are planning our estates in one way or the other. The only difference is there an identifiable plan in place? Or is what is going to happen when you pass on, is it going to be chaotic? We're all going to be going around wondering, okay, fine. I'm in now, or I'm in now, the older sister or the younger sister, all of that. So it's about really, clarifying a lot of things. Sometimes even having the necessary conversation with the relevant people to say, look, if that the day I pass on, you're going to be a guardian. You get what I mean? Very important conversation. So I would encourage all of us to really reach out to us as Botswana Life. Find out, ask questions. We're here to assist you. We have the solutions as Botswana Life, and we'll definitely try and ensure that your estate is planned in a more effective and efficient manner. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going
Yeah.
to call you right now.
Please do.
Please go ahead and share your details and
Yeah.
where we can find you as Botswana Life
Yeah.
for anyone that would like to ask any questions.
Sure. You can contact us at 362-3700. That is our contact center. You can email us at clientservices@blil.co.bw. So always a tongue twister. Or you can also email us at Fiduciary Services@blil.co.bw. And then you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Instagram.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Refilwe Mogwe. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in
Yeah.
our studio. And I think we're going to call you back. I have a feeling we're going to call you back. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And that's how we close off this week's episode of Money Life with Botswana Life. Make sure that you catch it again. We're on YouTube for full episodes so that you don't miss a thing.
That's a wrap on Money Life, proudly powered by Botswana Life, turning every pula into purpose. Catch you next time.